Welcome to another episode of the Filipino Genealogy channel. Today we're going to talk about the 10 things that you should know about President Duterte's genealogy. But before anything else, please do not forget to click on the subscribe button below and the bell beside it so that you will always be kept up to date whenever I post something new. While his name was a known name throughout the country because of his exploits as mayor of Davao City, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte remained pretty much a virtual ordinary politician for most of the Philippines before being elected president in 2016. Having one of the longest political careers in the country, President Duterte shocked the political establishment when he was catapulted to the presidency straight from a mayoral post, and when he defeated the establishment's candidate, former Secretary Mar Roxas. While his political history is interesting, President Duterte's family history is much more intriguing. So here are the top 10 most common beliefs people have about President Duterte's family and the truth about them. Number 1. The Duterte surname is of French origin. This is true. Unlike most of the surnames of our presidents, which are of Spanish origin, the surname Duterte is indeed French in origin and is derived from the word Duterte, which signifies one as coming from a hillock or of rising ground. It is interesting to note that there are many possible metaphors and symbolism one may get from this definition, as it is also an allusion to rising above others, or prominence, or elevation. The surname Duterte appears in the Catalogo Alfabetico de Apellidos, found 13th from the top of the fourth column of page 42. Number 2. Duterte is related to Janet Garin. In an ironic twist, President Duterte, who heads the current administration which has been investigating Janet Garin for her involvement in the purchase of the controversial vaccine Dengvaxia under the previous administration, just happens to be his cousin. Or, to be precise, President Duterte and Garin's father, Jose Loreto, are half third cousins, which means Dr. Janet Garin is President Duterte's half-third cousin once removed. They share a common descent from Maximo Veloso, but from two different wives. Number 3. President Duterte has Maranao blood. President Duterte himself has claimed many times that his mother was descended from the Maranaos of Cagayan de Oro, and according to the head of the Philippine Commission on Muslim Affairs, attorney Saidamen Balt Pangarungan, Duterte is not just of Maranao descent, but of royal Maranao descent. Supposedly, Duterte's mother's family descend from Datu Sampurna, who was the chief of Sipit and a Raja of Lanao in the 1520s. Years later, many of his descendants were baptized into the Catholic faith, and one of the descendants of this clan was a family of Duterte's mother. While claims about his Maranao blood remains to be proven, as far as historical records are concerned, Duterte does not have Cagayan de Oro roots, and which means he does not have Maranao blood. His mother's family, the Roas, although having lived in the Caraga region for some years, actually came from Cebu City, and before that, from Maasin and Liloan in southern Leyte. Number 4. Duterte's last name in his birth record is misspelled. On President Duterte's birth registration in Maasin, southern Leyte, his original surname, as was his father's, was actually Duarte. It is worth noting that the mistake is understandable as the surname Duarte exists in Maasin. This was corrected to Duterte, and the stroke suggests that the same person who wrote Duarte most likely also wrote Duterte. Imagine if this were not corrected, and if President Duterte had decided to just use the wrong surname, then he would have been President Duarte and not Duterte today. Number 5. Duterte's middle name should have been Fernandez. According to a latest unofficial biography of President Duterte, the grandfather of Duterte, Eleno Roa, was actually the illegitimate son of a Spanish-Chinese mestizo from Talisay named Eugenio Fernandez. Eleno's mother, a Roa from Leyte, was said to have died early, and Eleno later decided to search for her, thus ending up in Leyte in his early years. If Elena's father had married his mother, the president would have been named Rodrigo Fernandez Duterte and not Rodrigo Roa Duterte today. Number 6. Duterte's last name today would have been Veloso. What if President Rodrigo Duterte's great-great-grandfather, Maximo Veloso, had married his great-great-grandmother, Junicia Duterte? Then we would have had a President Rodrigo Veloso and not Duterte today. However, the genealogical gods decided otherwise. Junicia Duterte never married Maximo Veloso, and their son, Isabelo, initially carried Duterte as his last name. For legal purposes, he went by Isabelo Duterte, but in public he was known as Isabelo Veloso, as apparently he was recognized as a son by Maximo. Thus, Isabelo became the father of Facundo, who also carried Duterte as his last name, who in turn was the father of Vicente, President Duterte's father. The Duterte surname, as already mentioned earlier, stands for rising above others or prominence or elevation, compared with the surname Veloso, which is from the Portuguese word veloso, meaning hairy. I think even President Duterte's critics would agree that a president whose surname means rising above others is far better than a surname that means hairy. Number 7. Duterte's earliest Duterte ancestors date back to the 1700s. President Duterte's earliest ancestor was Bernardo Duterte and his wife Dominga Guzman. Their son, Francisco, was born in 1798 in the Parian district of Cebu. Francisco married Romualda Fulgencia, a mestiza Sangley or Chinese, in Cebu in 1821, and eventually he and his family settled in Naga, also in the province of Cebu. Their 5 known children were all born in Parian, although later married to either Naga or San Fernando natives. One of their daughters was Francisca Junicia Duterte, who later had a relationship and had children with Maximo Veloso. Number 8. Duterte has Portuguese blood through his father. If we are to believe in legends, the paternal family of Mayor Duterte has a rather interesting and long history. That is because the Veloso clan of Cebu believes its roots are from a 17th century Portuguese explorer named Diego or Diogo Veloso. This Portuguese explorer was active in Laos and Cambodia, and while history records that he went to the Philippines for some time, it is not clear how long he stayed there. What is clear is that his feats in Cambodia and Laos are the ones well recorded by history books. The Veloso clan believes that Diego, who supposedly established a profitable business in China and the Philippines in the mid-1700s, was a great-great-grandfather of Don Eduardo Veloso of Cebu, the father of Don Mariano, Doña Petrona, Father Rafael, Father Marcos, and Don Dionisio Veloso, from whom all the Velosos of Visayas and Mindanao originate. However, according to Michael Culinane, a renowned historian from the United States who has researched Cebuano history and genealogy for more than 20 years, he debunked the Velosos' claim to a Portuguese ancestor in his 2015 journal called The Myth of the Portuguese Ancestor, the Veloso family of 19th century Cebu. Through archival documentation, Killinane established that as far as records show, the Velosos were not of Portuguese but rather Chinese mestizo stock. Similarly, another legend in the Veloso family states that Doña Petrona Veloso was awarded the title of Marquesa by the King of Spain for her valuable donations and services to the church. The Elenco Nobiliario Español, an alphabetical listing of official patents of nobility in the Spanish kingdom, does not list any title being awarded to a Petrona Veloso, Marquesa, or otherwise. Number 9. Duterte is related to Tomas Osmeña. When Osmeña was the mayor of Cebu, he was singled out by President Duterte for various issues. Unknown to many, the Duterte and Osmeña families have always been allies and connected. Mayor Tom's grandfather, Sergio Osmeña Sr., appointed Vicente Gonzalez Duterte, the father of President Duterte, as acting mayor of Danao, Cebu on January 4, 1946. Meanwhile, Serging Veloso Osmeña Jr., son of President Osmeña, who first became Cebu City Mayor from 1956 to 57, was followed by Ramon Gonzalez Duterte, a brother of Vicente Duterte, who served from 1957 to 59. Later, the first cousin of President Duterte, Ronald R. Duterte, served as Cebu City Mayor from 1983 to 86. Mayor Tomas Osmeña and President Duterte, in fact, served as city mayors of their respective cities almost at the same time, from 1988 to 1995, then to 2001 to 2010. But most interesting tidbit of this is this. President Duterte's fourth cousin, Melanie Borromeo, married Mayor Osmeña's second cousin, Raul Del Mar, which means that not only are Duterte and Osmeña cousins-in-law, their children are blood cousins of the children of Raul Del Mar and Melanie Borromeo. And finally, number 10. Duterte's ex-wife is not Jewish but German-American. During President Duterte's visit to the State of Israel, news people all over the world trumpeted the historical roots of Duterte's ex-wife, Elizabeth Zimmerman, who many claimed was a daughter of one of the Israeli refugees granted asylum by the Philippine government during the Second World War to escape Nazi Germany's bloody campaign against the Jews. In fact, according to Gilad Cohen, the Deputy General for Asia-Pacific Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel, Duterte, Sara, is the mayor of Davao. She is the president's daughter, and her Jewish grandfather found shelter in the Philippines before World War II, when President Quezon opened the gates for Jews who fled Germany. A closure here in Israel at Yad Vashem Holocaust Museum. The Zimmerman surname is in fact a Germanic surname that most definitely has Jewish roots. However, Elizabeth's father, Godofredo B. Zimmerman, born on November 18, 1916, was not from Germany but from Hilongos Leyte. Godofredo, therefore, could not have been a Jewish refugee as he was a full Filipino born in the Philippines. And although he used Zimmerman as a last name all his life, both Godofredo's birth and baptismal records list him under his mother's last name, Baldazo. His birth father, George John Zimmerman, was a superintendent of schools in Leyte who came to the Philippines in the early 1900s. It was George John Zimmerman's father, Michael August Zimmerman, who came to the United States from Bavaria, Germany. Also, while it is possible that the Zimmermans in Germany had Jewish roots, By the time the Zimmermans came to the Americas, the grandfather of Elizabeth and the rest of the family in America were now congregants of the Lutheran Church. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the top things that you should know about the genealogy of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Thank you for watching this episode, and if you want to learn more, please click on my channel and look at my other videos. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.